For my veteran project, I interviewed my uncle, Captain Raymond Galata, but he's currently on service in Afghanistan, so he couldn't be here today, so my dad will be filling in for him and answering his questions with the pre-made answers. Now, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted in the Marine Corps in July of 1996 and left for boot camp in August of 1996.
Now, where were you living at the time?
I was living in Hillsborough, New Jersey.
Now, what made you want to join the Marines?
The economy was going south of north. I needed a steady job and additional financial support for college.
What made you choose the Marines as opposed to any other branch?
The Marine Corps has a strong tradition and a strong support structure from the American people.
Do you recall those first few days of service?
You will never forget the first day of boot camp. To this day I remember getting yelled at for no reason and trying to find the little yellow footprints that I was supposed to be standing on.
And what did it feel like to go through boot camp?
Well, imagine your dad chewing out your butt for something you didn't do and he just keeps yelling at you. Then this goes on for 11 weeks. After a while, you know when you will be getting chewed out and are prepared for it, and you try not to laugh. This is when the connection between you and the Marine Corps starts becoming reality. It is a feeling that you can't describe until you experience it.
Now, can you tell me something about the experiences you had from boot camp?
Sure. They take a bunch of people who are a majority just trying to fit into place in society. Everyone is broken down into the lowest element. Once this has been achieved, this is where the drill instructors start instilling in you that the true meaning of what a team is, an individual, and that you are not an individual. For the next 11 weeks, the person to the left and the right become your brother, your father, your uncle, or your cousin, who you will begin to trust for the next 4 years or longer. Boot camp challenges you mentally and physically to the breaking point, and then they start over. We aren't machines, but we are the best of the best, and we enjoy every minute of it. Not everyone will complete the boot camp training and become Marines. That is what we have the Army and the Air Force for.
Now, do you remember any of your instructors?
Yes, Senior Drill Instructor Sergeant Booth.
Now, how did you manage to get through all of it?
Minute by minute, day by day.
Now, after you got out of boot camp, what made you want to continue to serve?
You're under contract for 4 years. Then about the 3.5-year mark, I knew I wanted to stay in, but I had to become an officer.
Now, were there any people that made you want to join the service?
No.
Well, when you joined, did you ever think that you would end up in the position you're in now?
No, my intention was to stay in for 4 years and use the GI Bill for college. I'm coming up on my 15th year this summer.
Which wars did you end up serving in after boot camp?
I was deployed to Iraq 3 times and I'm currently stationed in Afghanistan for a 1-year deployment.
Now, where exactly did you go during these deployments?
While in Iraq, I've been to Ramadi, Al-Assad, Kuwait, and Fallujah.
Do you remember arriving, and what was it like?
Well, the war kicked off in 2003. I remember traveling down the famous highway to hell. You were traveling down the same road that the Iraqis were traveling on when they were trying to escape from the U.S. forces in 1990. The blown-up vehicles and trucks are still there.
Now, what exactly was your job assignment?
Communications, logistics, and supply officer, 2nd Supply Battalion, U.S. Marine Corps.
Now, for your unit, did they have a lot of casualties?
Yeah, there were quite a bit.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Getting into a full mop-up suit because of the possibility of nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks. Wearing those clothes in 100-degree weather was explained to us in the 11 weeks of boot camp.
Now, while you were serving for the past 15 years, were you awarded any medals?
During the last 15 years, my personal decorations include 12 personal citations and 3 unit citations.
How did you end up getting this?
Giving 110% all the time and taking care of the Marines under my command.
Now, were there any places that you would never go back to?
Well, this is Afghanistan. I always tell myself I will never go to hell. I lied. I'm already here.
Do you have any regrets about joining the military?
Not one bit.
Now, how do you end up staying in touch with your family?
Back in 2003, it was hard to use computers, but over the years, technology enabled us to communicate all the time via email or phones. The only time when we didn't have service is when we turned it off for security reasons.
You've talked about a lot of the experiences you've had from your service, but what was things like food?
Well, cafeteria food in MREs just taste awful.
Well, did you have plenty of supplies while there?
Well, of course. I'm a supply officer. If we need it, I'll find it. If I want it, I'll get it. In 2009, I found a Harley-Davidson in mint condition that we took from one of Saddam Hussein's son's houses.
Now, did you feel a lot of pressure or any stress?
A whole lot.
Now, was there something special you did for good luck?
I always think about my wife and sons, especially now. You think 4 deployments in combat zone would be easier because you already went through it. It doesn't get any easier, it only gets harder.
Now, while people are in those zones, what do they do for fun or to entertain themselves?
Wrestling, horsing around, running, or training.
Now, while you were there, were there any paid entertainers or any volunteers that entertained you?
The USO has tours out here, but I haven't seen any this time around.
Now, what do you do when you go on leave?
Spend a lot of time with my wife and 2 sons.
Now, where did you travel while in the service?
I've been to Okinawa, Japan, Germany, Italy, Spain, Kuwait, Iraq, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and of course hell, Afghanistan.
Now, do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events?
This area of the world is unusual. They are trapped in a time zone. They live the same way in the exact same lifestyle they have for the last 200 to 300 years, and they enjoy it.
Now, do you have anything like photographs to help you remember your family or your friends?
Yes, plenty.
Now, how do you feel about your fellow officers and soldiers?
They are my brothers and my sisters. In the absence of the ones in the rear, they are your support structure for the good times and the bad times.
Do you do anything like keep a journal or personal diary?
No, it's all in my memory.
Were you close friends with any of the people that you served with?
Yes.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or just the military in general?
Yes, but that's really just my opinion.
Now, did the service and experiences affect your life at all?
It still changes my life as I continue with my service.
Do you think that joining the military has made you who you are today?
Without the Marine Corps, I most likely wouldn't be where I am today or have the family that I love so much.
Thank you for your time.